Early. Early. Hey guys, nice to see you, nice. Make sure you're seeing you are hearing my voice. Very good. To see you, nice. Okay, that looks like very good quality. It says on YouTube it's not good quality, but it looks like it's very nice quality. Welcome to live stream number 2. I saw somebody on a blog the other day, like they give a number to everyone, like number 637. But I have no idea. It's like number 10,039. How many I've done? A lot, I think. Okay, so if this is your first time, my hair's not hitting, is it? I can't see. If this is your first time to live stream, then welcome. Let me tell you how it works. So I do these talks every Sunday and Wednesday at 6 p.m. French time, and you can ask any questions you like. You ask it through Skype, and my Skype address is lisacairns12. You can find it in the box below my Skype address, and you just have to have a Skype account. You log in, and then what do you do once you've logged in? You log in and just send me a request. I don't know. I haven't done it for a long time. If you want to know when I go live, then subscribe to my channel. You'll see a button, and then press the little bell and make sure your notifications are set on, and then every time I go live, it will send you a reminder to your email box. If you want to join an event that I'm doing, the next event I'm doing is something like the 20, let me read it out from my website. I never forget. I never remember. I never forget. So if you want to join an event, I'm doing talks in Berlin and Sanstoff, Germany. So I do a conference in Sanstoff on the 23rd of March, but I think that's all sold out. And I do intensive talks in Berlin the 29th of March and the 30th of March. So you can find all that info on my website. Then I also do an Easter retreat in the south of Spain, which is the 18th of March. Oh no, it's not the 18th of March, it's the 18th of April to the 25th of April. So that's the Easter holiday. So that's the week of Easter. And having been to Hidden Paradise many times before, where the retreat is, normally this is really nice weather to go at Easter time. I can't guarantee it. Last time we had some difficult weather, but this time of year, it's normally always good weather, but that time of year is normally perfect. Not too hot, not too cold. So yeah. And then I do another event in the summertime, intensive talks. So it's like a retreat in Cairns, Germany, the 9th to 16th. But the reason that I call it intensive talks is because everybody can find their own accommodation. I haven't got more information on the website yet. But you book to come and see the talks, and then you can stay at home, you can commute, you stay campsite, you can stay at the hotel when I'm doing the talks, and then you can adjust it to your pay level rather than just having one set fee. So that's very good for everybody. And there might be talks other places, but until the BritX is done, I really can't plan too much this year. I have to wait to see what my status is with the rest of the world. It is so unknown. They're really leaving it to the last minute. I never ever expected something would happen like this with Britain. You just take it for granted, your easy passport, and yeah, it just being very stable. And that's just taken for granted. And so when something like this exit happens, it's really a weird situation. It's 2.5 more weeks, and nobody knows what's going to happen. I mean, yeah, nobody knows whether we're going to leave, whether we're going to be in the EU, whether it's going to be a hard exit. And so if you haven't followed it, the reason why it's complicated for people to know what they're doing is if it's a hard exit, then the government has to make new deals with all the countries, and we don't know what those deals will be. I suspect it's not going to be a hard exit. Whether the government have organised the deal, if that's voted in, then that's quite simple. And then the other option they've got is extension. So it might be extended another 3 months It's really weird. You keep thinking it's going to get sorted out, so you keep thinking there's going to be decisions. I don't know if it affects everybody in England as much as it does me, but because I'm an immigrant, it really affects me. Into France. Like when I moved to France, I was part of the EU, so I was allowed to travel and live anywhere in the EU. And now England's leaving, I suddenly don't have a right to be in France. It all depends on the deals as to what's going to happen to me after. I suspect it will be fine. I'm not worried about it, but it might be a lengthy process, and it just means you can't really plan anything. Like, I don't know if I'll have laws to be able to work in other countries. Yeah. I don't know what my deal's going to be. It's exciting, right at the edge of that. I've never had that before with my passport. Britain's always been a very good passport to have, and something like this makes you realise like how lucky we are in Europe and America and Canada and Australia. A lot of countries have good passports, but some countries are very difficult passports to have. You can't travel to a lot of countries. There's a lot of things you can't do, a lot of things are controlled. So now the British get the taste of that. I don't think anyone in England can really believe what's happening. When they voted to leave, I think everyone thought it would be easy, like just sign some contracts and then you're out. But our country hasn't even negotiated all its deals with the other countries yet. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, so basically that was a long explanation to the might be other events, but I'm kind of not committing to anything to see what happens. Hopefully it'll be that we stay in. I have a good feeling that we'll stay in. It'll be so wonderful. I would drink champagne. I don't normally drink alcohol, but I would really celebrate. But just in case you're going to the Spanish retreat, I can go to Spain and I can go to Germany because I live in France. I can cross the border by cars. I just can't. I just don't know if I'll be able to fly or what will happen. But I can still go to these events. There's absolutely no issue with that. They're booked. They're legal. There's nothing illegal about them, and I can still work there. It's just the going back into England. I think I get 3 months to organise a visa and to change the business. So I get 3 months of protection. I'm not sure if I can travel outside of mainland Europe. I can definitely drive within mainland Europe. So you don't need to worry about them. So hi guys. Okay, so what was the title again? Let me just look. What is the meaning of karma? Dun dun dun! What a great title. What is the meaning of karma? Okay. Need a drink before I start that. Karma to me is life, is the movement of life. The apparent cause and effect. So if I pick up the drink and then I drop it, it falls to the floor and goes bang. If I stop putting water into my body, then more than likely my body falls down dead after a while. If I get drunk, then a hangover follows. If I am nice to someone, then more than likely they're nice in return. If I believe that I can do something, then more than likely it will be achieved. If I believe I can't do something, then more than likely it won't be achieved. If I have happy thoughts, then more than likely I'll be a happy person. If I listen to non-duality, then more than likely non-duality will follow. If I focus on hate and hateful things and watch hateful TV and hateful music, more than likely I will be hateful and dark. If I do horrible things to people, then more than likely there'll be bad energy from other people coming back and bad feelings in the body and mind, like the mind will be hateful and revengeful. If I work from a place of giving, then more than likely there will be receiving. If I work from a place of taking from other people, then more than likely other people will take from me. That is karma. The flow of life. It's the natural flow of things. It's not the bad things get punished or people that do things bad get punished. It's that they create bad energy in themselves. You'll more than likely feel bad about doing it, or the people around you will judge you or outcast you, or it'll be spread on the internet, or eventually computers will get so good they'll be able to see all our actions of everything we've done on the internet or said. So if you're a troller, beware. We don't know what the governments are doing with collecting data. So that is what karma is to me. Karma is the natural flow of life. And to me, the whole life, the brain and life are not separate. So your internal reality will affect and create your outside reality. Like they're one and the same energy. So your internal world will be what the outside world is like to you, because that's what you'll feel. So you'll feel hateful, and if you feel hateful and angry and resentful, that's what you'll see everywhere, and that's the energies you'll attract. You'll attract people to blame, or you'll attract people that blame you, or you attract a lot of conflict. If your internal world is of love and peace and openness, and that's what you'll see in the world, so of course that's what you're going to attract. This is what karma is. It's completely impersonal. Believing it's personal, you suffer. So if you think it's my karma, I've done something wrong, or they've done something wrong, that I've got karma, then you suffer because it's too intense to believe that you're creating everything you see and feel and experience. It's too much. There has to be a seeing that that's not you. Who you are is no thing which is appearing is everything. That's beautiful. You are this moment. You're this boundlessness. Your essence is this boundlessness. It's not what the body does or doesn't do. It's not about the ways it behaves or not. That's karma. That's in the flow of life. It's like what goes around comes around. No shit. No shit. If we keep breeding as humans and there keeps getting more and more of us and we keep lighting fires and heating our houses and driving cars, then no shit, the planet's going to heat up. That's karma, that's the flow of things. But that's not who you are, that's not who I'm speaking to now. If you believe that's who you are, then you're always seeking for the perfect life and the perfect situation and the perfect solution. And in a way, you're too hard on yourself, so you keep creating the opposite. You keep believing it's your responsibility to get life right. And that's a really intense feeling to have. That's going to create lots of, more than likely, negative karma. It's your responsibility to get life right. In one way, it's an arrogant thought. Like, you control this life, you control other people. And it's also a fear of being out of control. So that's what you're attracting into your life. Like, you believe it's in your control to make a happy life. So therefore, you're fearing disharmony. You're fearing it not being harmonious. You're fearing making the wrong decision. And that's what you're going to attract to you. You're going to attract fear about your decisions. You're going to be over-controlling and therefore constantly be seeing chaos. Even when it's quite orderly, you'll be like, it's chaos. I need to arrange the stone in my lawn, the stones in my lawn, the soil in my lawn. It all needs to be lined up diagonally. So it'll be constant stress for you, like my responsibility. Juggling all these balls, trying to get the perfect life, and it'll never happen because deep down what you're actually doing is you're fearing chaos. So you're fearing that you'll make a mistake and things will go chaotic and that you'll have a bad future. And if you're doing something out of that fear, which is on the surface, you're trying to control your life and to have a happy life. If you're doing something out of a negative energy, then like attracts like you're fearing chaos. So what you're bringing towards you is chaos. So in order to see through that, there has to be a seeing that life isn't under control and chaos isn't the problem. The problem is the identification with the person. That's all suffering. That's all what suffering is. Your freedom is this expansiveness, this moment, this isness. It's who you are. It's right here. It's free. And then the you identifies with this, and then the you tries to control life and fit it into a box. And it's an impossible job. You're always seeking to have a smooth passage, to know what the future is, to make this future a certain way. And you create more and more stress and disharmony inside of yourself. So what you want to get to is just having this ease of a person that on the deepest level knows that you're not the person, and then on the human level has a sweet, open attitude to life, where it firstly knows on the human level it doesn't know. It's humbled. It's like, I don't know what all of this is. So it's got like an open heart. And then it has naturally more positive feelings that life will work out, that things will go as they're meant to go, that everything's God's will. These are thoughts on the human level and feelings on the human level. That there's nothing out of place. The good things are going to appear. and that you can trust life. Life is totally trustworthy. And I think that you can, on the human level, only get to those thoughts, only be more in line with those thoughts. It's an endless process to open up to these more expanded thoughts. And as we evolve as humans, we'll grow even more expansive thoughts. Our understanding of trust will be so much more deep, and we'll most probably have like 1,000 words for different elements of trust eventually. But at the moment, we've only got this one word called trust and this one category. So as we expand our knowledge, our emotions, and our understanding on the human level of non-duality will expand as well. So the expansion of your human is endless. But you can only get to a more balanced human once you really see non-duality. Because there's this deep knowing of who you are. So there's a deep knowing that nothing's against you. That you're not in relationship with anything. So there's nothing that could possibly hurt you. Everything is like, yeah, everything's supporting you. It's your thinking that's creating all this chaos and all these ideas that life is against you. Life has never been against you. No matter what happens, it's your interpretation of it. Even if you have dark situations, and when I say dark situations, like death of a family member or your business goes bankrupt, it's the way you interpret it. To me, or everything's a lesson, everything's an opportunity to expand. So to me, those are gifts. Like even with the Brit exit, like if it's my destiny to go back to England, if it's my destiny to stay here, if it's my destiny to move to America, then that will happen. And it'll be the perfect place, and I'm sure there's something that I'll learn in that transaction. I'm sure it'll be painful, or if I have to go back to England at first, but there's something that we'll learn and evolve from that. Life knows what it's doing. Well, there might be a little bit of resistance in my personality, like, more paperwork. But eventually, ultimately, it's known that life isn't against me. Life isn't against you. This idea comes from separation. Like this idea that you're in here and there's a world out there and that world is scary. That's not true. You just have to stay with the basic feelings that arise. So the basic feelings are that something scary happens, and it's staying with the fear rather extrapolating out into all these bizarre stories and feelings that arise with these bizarre stories. Sometimes you don't even notice it, so it just seems like the way it is. Like you go into the post office and it's like ages of queuing, and by the time you get to the post office, by the time you get to the front, the post office decides to shut. So that's a painful situation. But it's down to you. It's not really down to you, but it's down to that instrument as to the way it interprets it. It can see that was perfect and the letters are meant to go the next day. That was exactly where you're meant to be. You don't know why, but that's exactly where you're meant to be. Or you can interpret it as bloody post office people. She's a bad mooded beep, 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 beep. And you can see that really what's happening is a fear of completing your tasks, that you're going to get in trouble, that you're running out of time, that there was a better place for you to be at. And it's just looking at all those thoughts. And all of us can lose our mind sometimes in temper. Like I can lose my mind sometimes, when you spend hours on the phone to India. So no offense to anyone in India, but this is what a lot of English companies do. They sell out the helplines to India, and then when you phone India, you get turned around in circles for ages, and then by the end of it, you're like, ah! Like I can lose my mind sometimes, but then it's like coming back to the center, and it's that feeling made you feel out of control or afraid or small or whatever it is, and then seeing that doesn't need to be interpreted as life's against you or that things are happening to you. Life is always doing things perfectly. There is nothing going wrong. But in order to see that on the human level, on the personality level, because the personality does shift with this, Like, it's not that this doesn't affect the personality, it's just not the personality that wakes up. The personality often has to settle in order for this to be heard, but this energetic shift is despite the person, not because of the person. It's despite the person. And then there still might be integration of that realization in the person afterwards. The person might still be working out their karmas, but it's not about you coming to your perfect karma, because there's no end to it. There is no end to your evolution, ever. Like, if you thought it was an end to your evolution on the human level, then basically you'd just be putting yourself in a nice big fat cage. Our nature on the absolute level is expansiveness and infinite possibilities. It's no thing appearing as everything. And on the human level, to be in flow, you have to line up with that and see that, like, you've got your personality and there's all these ways of being, but there's another level of anything's possible, anything can happen. This is an open book. Magic can exist. Like, that's the balanced human, is to have these childlike qualities. Like, we see it in films. We always love these characters in films that are like in a way really innocent. Like we might call them naive, but things always seem to work out for them when we see them in mythology, in films, in stories. Like, they have this naivety, and we laugh at their naivety, but things always work out. Have you ever seen Horton Hears a Who? There's this big elephant in it, and he's really endearing, and he's really childlike and sweet, and he's got a really sweet heart, but he really doesn't always think things through. So he's on this bridge, like, he's a big fat elephant, and he's on this bridge that's just about to collapse, and he's in the middle of it. And he's like, what can I do in this situation? So he decides that he's got to think light. And then he says, what is light? And he's like, balloon is light. A feather is light. And then a feather still was too heavy. So then he says, what else is light? And he's like, air is light. So he thinks of air, and he blows up his trunk like a balloon. He's like, and then he walks over this bridge that's breaking. And it's like he'd have like thousands of meters to fall. So he's like walking, air is light, air is light, air is light. So he's having all these positive thoughts, and it's so endearing. And then the whole bridge collapses, but somehow he makes it to the other side. Whole bridge breaks and collapses and falls into the ravine, and he's on the other side, and he's like, woof, that could have been a disaster. And then he's like, he's all pleased with himself, and it's like, some people might think it was a disaster, but he has this other attitude. But everything in the film always works out for him. Like, there's times when he gets like pulled down, like there's moments where it's like, oh, and something happens and he gets pulled down, and then he's like back again. Like, and we love this character because this reminds us of ourselves when we were children. This is what the character's like when it's really lined up with source, when it's not identified with this timeline thing, with this past and future, this timeline thing, the timeline thing of me, when it's not identified with the thoughts and the feelings and the personality structure, where there's like an absolute grounding and knowing of who you are. The personality tends to be less complicated and less grasping onto timeline. It's more innocent and positive and excitable and open to wonder. Open to wonder. Shall we say hello to Khaleesi? Open to wonder. I'll carry on talking about non-duality because I know that some people, I like doing these sorts of things with Khaleesi. Some people only like it when I talk because that's the way they are, you know. Yappy dappy dappy dap. Uppy 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 up. Can you see her? Hey, hey! Boop, boop. Boop, 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 boop. Wakey, ticky, tick, tick. Yicky, ticky, tick, tick. Is she looking? I can't see. Oh, she's so cute. So, what was I saying? I was saying something about nothing. Something about nothing. I just saw that you could see her. That's very cute. So that's the end of that. So just linking it back up to the title. So you can always work on your karma. I have karma that I have to work out. Like I even see the Brit exit thing as part of my karma. Like I don't see it as something that I'm victim to or that's against me. It's part of my karma. And if you embrace all of your karma with an open heart and a knowing that that which knocks you down always helps you grow taller and wider. As long as you have an open heart. If you don't, then the karma of it is it will knock you down, and then maybe you can't get back up again. It's like, what do you want? I'm in one of these really hippy trippy moods, like me. I like that. Feels nice. Okay, so have we got any questions? I just see on the YouTube chat some people being so negative. Like I don't understand how you can listen to me for so long and still be full of so much anger towards me. Like there's other teachers that you're not victim to anything. There's other teachers that you could go to that are more following topics and have a noteboard and are like, I see me as more of an energetic communicator. So even if I go off singing, it's like an energy. Like if you spend time with me, I think that the biggest thing that you'll come away with is that I'm really, most of the time, unless I get an anger attack, which isn't that often, but most of the time I'm very joyful and light and playful, and I see that as way more important than some intellectual teaching of non-duality or some serious teaching with PowerPoint of non-duality. But you have thousands of teachers that you could go to that offer you that, and you come here and you're in like a dark negative mindset, like putting out hate. Like why? Well, I understand why actually. I say why naively. Why is because it's a release for you. It makes you feel better to put anger out there, because there's anger and annoyance and frustration in your body. So when you release it out and have it heard by other people, it's actually relaxing. That's why people get angry and shout at their partners and let out frustration on the ones they love, because it releases it from the body. Like you're not victim to anybody. You're not victim to me because of the way I speak or because I do different things from just talking about non-duality. I show you my beautiful, wonderful, mysterious dog that looks like a wolf. Nobody's ever victim to anything. What a wonderful society it would be if people could see that you aren't victim. Because what it does is it makes the body-mind instrument take responsibility. Even though it's nobody's responsibility, the instrument begins to see that by sticking its hand continuously in the fire, it gets burnt. So by releasing anger on people, it never works. You just build up more anger. You just give yourself an endorphin release. And therefore it trains you to keep on doing that, just like the addiction to Facebook and the ticks and the dislikes. It's like a endorphin release when you release your anger on somebody, but it doesn't actually solve the underlying problem. It just makes you build on that, so you become more and more angry over years, until you're in your 60s and you become, like that film Grumpy Old Men, which I do find very funny, that film. And I don't understand how you can keep listening to my talk and you can't hear that part, like what I'm saying. But it's nobody's responsibility. So when I say you have to take responsibility for your action, it's like a two-way part, because on one level you've got to really see that there's nobody's responsibility, and then on the other level the instrument needs to take responsibility for itself. So if the instrument is like, if the body, the person, to put it more personally, is laying in bed all day with depression, then there needs to be some form of reflection that it needs to put effort, it needs to get out of bed, it needs to do things. And obviously it's God's will whether it gets those impulses to think that. But the type of thinking that's going to begin to get that person out of bed with depression is thoughts like, I can do it, or it will be better for me if I get out of bed, or I'm the one that has to get myself out of bed. It's not going to suddenly be, God is deciding to get me out of bed. Here moves the arm. Oh, here moves the other arm. Boop, 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 boop. God is moving me out of bed. It's going to come with thoughts that are like, okay, I have to recondition myself to get myself moving again and get myself out, or take some pills or whatever it is that I've decided to do, but I have to do something. So it appears with personal responsibility, but there's this energetic shift that deeply knows that everything is a dance of God. But if you want to change the character apparently has to take responsibility in time. Just like if you want to learn French or learn Japanese or learn how to cook Indian food, you have to train yourself to do it. Yeah, da 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 da. Yeah. So the person that's hating me or disliking me on the YouTube chat, that is your karma. That is your karma. It's you that you're hurting, and it's also my karma. Like the when I open myself up to speak about this, the karma of that, like the wise understanding, is that you are going to receive negative feedback and you're going to receive positive feedback, I would say a balanced person will then look at it constructively and look at which feedbacks help you grow. Somebody that's narrow-minded will just take the positive one and just be like, yes, I am the enlightened guru, blah, 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 blah. For somebody, when you're more balanced, you'll see that negative feedback is always vital to keep things balanced. Vital. It's so important to have like extremities of things. And I have taken, like the person that's complaining, saying how disorganized I am, and I have taken it into account, and I am trying a bit better to do things a little bit more orderly. But I also think that I've got to let my character play and be disorganized. Well, what's attractive about it is that Horton Hears a Who is that kind of personality. But I am trying to, I've like designed a nice little coming soon intro little section, and I've set up the microphone really well, and I'm trying to edit out things if there's a mistake. And then there's also another person on YouTube that's editing short clips. So if you just want to see short clips, you can go to that. I think it's called Video Clips. You can find that. It's an associate channel. So there is an effort. Like I've heard that feedback and I understand that feedback, but I also think there's something really sweet in my personality, and it's like a deep knowing that's not arrogant and not from like being mean. It's just like a deep knowing, you know, when you just feel this trust in yourself that my playfulness and my joyfulness and my distractedness all come together, and there's a sweetness in it. Like it doesn't mean any harm to anyone. It's, if you follow it, you'll see that there's a real like energy of excitement that's trying to be communicated. And that this isn't all about mental masturbation. This subject isn't mental masturbation. But So I do see feedback as karma. When you put yourself out there, you always need to have feedback, and you're going to have extremes, and you want to come to a more balanced middle ground. You're going to always have extremes. That's the way it goes. That's part of the great democratic society, is that we can all have opinions. So when you put yourself out there, that is karma. You can have that. And I reflect on it as well. Like if I start getting lots of hate on YouTube, I reflect on it. You know, why is that coming up? Like that is, everything is your karma. You could boo 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 boo. And that goes for you, and that goes for me, and it goes for you. So if you're hating my talks, why are you creating it? Because you are the creator on the absolute level. You as consciousness, the one that's listening to my voice, the one that's seeing now, the one that's right here is the creator. So why is it being created? And it's created through this personality structures. And these personality structures have particular colors to them. And then it creates, the brain projects this outside world as well. But it's all coming from that number one creator. But the source is not consciously creating. But on the human level can change it, but it's not separate from the source. So you could say it's the source changing it, but it changes it through the human level. But you are the creator. So if I'm so terrible to you, if I'm having such a bad effect on you, just answer this, please. Why are you creating me? Get out of that by how to get out of that with being a victim, with maintaining a victim. Humans love to be victim. You are not a victim no matter what's happened. That is just such a bad attitude, victimhood. Such a bad attitude. It's an attitude of deep suffering that life is against you. You are life. You are life. You can't come to a non-duality channel, someone that openly preaches oneness, and then think that things are happening to you that other people are doing to you. I can see it now. It's not negative. That's just your mental interpretation. Yes. No, I do understand your perspective. You think that you are there to save me because you are so high and I can be saved by you. You've already spoken to me before about it. And I know your attitude. You believe that you know better than me. That you are an older gentleman that knows better than me because I am a foolish business person. What if I'm not? And I'm not saying it from arrogance. I'm just saying it from like love, like this middle part. Like I've thought about it. From each extreme, I've had that have told me that I need to be a better business person, and then those that say that I shouldn't be a business person at all in this subject. And I've come to the middle. Like I do business, I do it inside of the structure of business, but it's not my goal. Being a great business person isn't my goal. What my goal is expressing my freaking heart. And that means suddenly having a Khaleesi love affair in the middle of it, being like, because my goal is to express my heart. And that will always be my goal. Always. Even if the whole business implodes, that is what's most important to me. But I do it in the structure. I abide by the country's laws, and I do things in structure of business. And I do certain things to make this digestible and listenable. I do nice microphone. I do nice intro. I have set times every week. But then I just let it wild. I'm not speaking here like with an agenda. I'm just speaking. And it's like love. It's like just love. It's unbounded. Like I'm not speaking with this agenda in the future. I'm going to hook all these potential students. Namaste. Let me hook all these potential students. Let me do all the the advertising things of wearing the right colour clothes, of not drinking drinks, of making sure you have a plant. I did the plant, you see? I'm a compromiser. I did the plant. I haven't done the picture of somebody. I'm not wearing gold and Armani suits to try and sell something. It's not my goal. Or spiritual clothes. I'm not wearing white and long shawls. My goal is so evident that it's to express love and joy. And if that annoys you, or if you think that I shouldn't do that, it's not balanced to me. I think everybody should be going from that premise of expressing their heart. And they've got to find that middle way between making enough money to survive and putting it in a sellable way, but at the same time using that platform to do something they love and that they're deeply passionate about. And I can only be passionate about stuff here, right here in this, like expressing for no reason out of this without any bounds on it. Like I'm not trying to get anywhere, like there's not a goal or there's not something I'm trying to avoid. It's just coming out as a form of love without any bounds on it right here. And that's how everybody should act, just from this moment, here, right now, in the apparent colour of the individual. So, the person I'm speaking with on YouTube, I would suggest that you're showing and displaying narcissistic qualities. I'm feeding back with love, and I didn't want to use that word, but the idea that you know way better than me when you've never been a spiritual teacher and you haven't done this for 8 years and you're not a young female that's had all the experiences, like, and the letters that you've written to me, is like in the way that you've written to me, it's for sure that you're displaying narcissistic qualities. And the aggression in which you've written, I feel like what you want is you want me to be a female that follows you. Like there's some sort of sexuality most probably in there for you, and you want me to be a female that follows you and says, yes, sir, you are right. You know how to do business and I do not, and you are going to make me successful at business and I will be grateful for you. It's like a sexual game. And I've experienced it many times in my business, and I've looked into it. I have a selection of older gentlemen that have come playing that game. And my karma isn't saying yes to you. My karma is trying to work out how to dance that respectfully. Like without being mean or horrible to anyone, and doing it with love. And not getting trapped in some sort of weird sexual games with people. I have the opposite from the young woman coming and offering the body to the guru. It's like a squashing energy. It can be from women that do it too. It's like you want, when you like something, you want to squash it and own it. Like, let me tell you how to do this better. I know this energy very well. I'm not interested. I love you and I'm not interested. Not romantically, but I love you from this moment. And that's my karma, is learning to stand up to that energy in a really peaceful and harmonious way. And saying a big no. When I first started, I was like 30 years old, and I took it too seriously, this criticism from these older men. It wasn't from women, it just doesn't happen. That I think it always has this sexual element to it. So I think with male teachers, they get females offering their body in some way, or offering to help in some way in order to get the love of the parent, in order to get that intimacy. Whereas what I've experienced as a young female starting speaking on this is like a squashing, is that these people come and they try and squash my spirit and own my spirit. It's like they want to suck it up. Like, that's my experience. And one way is through that door is trying to tell me how badly I'm doing business, how badly I'm doing things, and that only their help can help me. Maybe it's not like that. Maybe the greatest thing you can ever act from is not the logic, but the love that's in your heart, the love that's the heart of being. And that's wild and uncontainable and doesn't have filters or rules or logic. It just is. And it's like okay, let's go to questions. Hi, Sam. My question is about non-duality and mental illness. Someone suggested to me that I might have borderline personality disorder. Looking it up online, it does fit in with my behaviors and moods. Dramatic mood swings, risk-taking, and addictive behavior, and how I am in relationship. Everything is black and white, perfect or ruined. I had convinced myself these mood swings are constructive and being free, like flip-flopping. I don't like the label, though, of BPD. Question is, does waking up sometimes look like madness, or am I just more messed up in my head than I like to think? By the way, I'm not home yet. We'll watch when I get back. Thanks for the stream. I think that when you begin to get into this subject, like often people begin to get into this subject because they just have there's different reasons. There can be that you just have a spontaneous awakening. There can be that you're more susceptible and open, and you've not had so many ideas about who you are, so there's just an openness to it. But a lot of people come to it through suffering. And I personally don't believe in all the labels of mental illness. I think they're labels that help us evolve with our thoughts about things, but I don't think they're fixed things. Like from my experience of mental illness and knowing a close relative with mental health problems, throughout the years, they've had so many diagnoses because they change diagnosis and they divide them up and they create more. And so basically, when you come to this subject, it's more than likely that you've had a good period of years of having very bad thinking. And the very bad thinking is going to affect the chemicals in your brain. Now, whether the very bad thinking started because of the chemicals in the brain or because of the bad thinking, who knows? It's like, I just don't know how this world is created. It's really mysterious. Yeah, like it's so mysterious how it's created. Like it's one big brain in a way. You could say we're walking through a brain. So if you've got a brain that's extreme, that has lots of extreme mood swings, then the world is going to be really extreme. So you experience the drug taking, the risking. But I don't think it really matters when we're talking to put labels on it, but when you go for a diagnosis or when you work with a therapist, you shouldn't ever be arrogant. You should work in their diagnosis and their titles, and I don't mean to dismiss it in any way, because I also think that psychiatrists and therapists can be super helpful to people in certain situations. But here in non-duality, from my perspective, it's not like it's not so strict, and everything's relative. Like if you're going for a diagnosis, then it's really helpful because you get told you've got personality disorder and then you can research it. But then eventually you come to see that who knows what we are. But don't jump ahead of yourself. I always have a feeling with you, Sam, that like with your addiction, that you really need to work on your psychology. And like I've suggested, like going to a psychologist and like learning more about your personality structure, because at the moment I see you caught in these extremes of your personality structure and then really believing the thoughts when you're in that extreme. So when anger comes up, you really believe the anger and your mind really goes for it, sadness and goes for it. When the idea of drugs come up, there's a real believing in it, and then you go for it. So my recommendation to you would be to find out as much as you can about psychology, and really like dedicate your heart to it and to discovering more about your personality structure. Because the more you discover, it will stop you going into them extreme thinking or feeling patterns, and it will help it come down. And as it helps it come down, as it helps it be less like dragged into time and agony and thoughts and thinking and stories, as it gets smaller and smaller, that part, then there can be a hearing of non-duality. Sometimes everyone mixes things up or tries to skip ahead of itself. Like this teaching isn't fact. Anyone that teaches non-duality or teaches self-help or teaches working on the personal self or anything, even therapy, it's not like a fixed thing. It's all dependent on who you're speaking to and the stage they're at their life. Like there comes a point where you let therapy go, or there comes a point where you let the story go. But everyone wants to get ahead of themselves. They're like, I want to be at the finish line. I want to be nobody. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. I'm nobody. Fuck you. I'm nobody. And they're in absolute hell and they're still screaming they're nobody. There's nobody here. There is nobody effing here. Who do you think you are? Don't you know there's nobody here? There is nobody. There's nothing to do and there's nobody. And they're obviously deeply suffering, but they still want to be at the end because it's like a personality dynamic. I'm sure in school they were like, pick me, pick me, pick me, pick me first as well. Like it's like a dynamic, like they maybe got rewarded by their parents a lot for being successful, or who knows. And you just got to take life like everything, not just this subject, but like everything. It's like one step at a time. Like when you have to do big jobs, like clean the basement and the basement's a mess. If you start thinking of it as a whole and the finish point, you're never going to clean that basement. You just got to slowly, bit by bit, work through it. Bit by bit. At the moment, I'm writing this gigantic book, and I was listening to somebody speak the other day, and they were saying, you just have to take one word at a time. And I really liked that because that's the way I do it. Like when I do books, I break it all down. So it's just tiny sections I'm doing, and then you build something a lot bigger. And it's the same with non-duality. Like you just take it bit by bit. Like saying there is nobody is only relevant in certain circumstances. You know, if your personality is really unbalanced and having a lot of suffering, you gotta work on the brimming personality. I could say that 1,000,000 times. And working on the personality requires the appearance of doership, that you do something. Just like cleaning the basement, you got to say to yourself, come on, Lisa, you got to get up and do the basement. So it appears like you're doing. It doesn't require, so working on the personality, you can't be like, there is nobody, all there is everything, all there is consciousness. Every time a feeling comes up, you've got to investigate the feeling, investigate where it comes from, make connections, see what your reactions are, pay attention. What am I doing when this feeling comes up? When I feel overwhelmed, I get into bed. I start getting angry. I start like compulsively thinking. Like you have to really break it down. What is that personality structure? I was so lucky with one of my teachers. Like I spent hours and hours, millions of hours, like years going through these thoughts and these illusions and these feelings, and like really giving myself space to have these feelings and really working on the personality structure. And some non-duality thoughts help you with the personality structure, but some of them are destructive. It depends where you are. Depends where you are on the pathless path. But eventually, when everything begins to break down and you see through all your bullshit and all your belief systems, as you're not so much clinging on to the idea, I'm right, she's right, he's right, or I am the best person in the universe, I am more intelligent, I am more this, I am more that, I have more that, my possessions. And as it begins to break down and everything's not seen as truth and fact, then it begins to be seen that this is a pathless path for nobody. Nobody's experiencing it. There's nobody been here. There's nobody here. There is simply life happening. This is this moment speaking. There isn't an identity speaking. There's only this speaking. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't it lovely? Lovely, lovely, lovely. Thank you for your question, Sam. Hello, Isabel. Beloved, beloved. Hi, Beth. Hi, Bia. I see God in you. Thank you. I see God in you. Hi, Prem. Is our karma is our predestined destiny, love? Can I change or redirect my karma? It is the destiny of the body. So you like the destiny, wrong thing. The destiny of my body, pardon me. The destiny of my body is the destiny of my body. And you can't stop it, but it's unknown what the future is. It's going to be the way it is, and you can't stop it or change it, because in one way it's never happened, and in one way it's already happened. I'm sorry. So there's two realities. In one way it's never happened, in one way it's already happened. Isn't it brilliant, this subject? I know that sounds really like, why would I even bother saying two completely opposite things? But as your mind begins to break down, you begin to stop hiding on to so many dogmas. You see there's so many there is no truth in anything, so we can only sort of kind of point to the magic of what's creating all of this. So our destiny is the way our destiny is. Now what that does to us in the moment is it makes us think, I can sit back and enjoy the ride, which is a nice thought, and I'm not saying don't think that. That is a nice thought. You can sit back and enjoy the road. You really can. You can put your slippers on. You can take yourself a glass of whiskey if whiskey is your tickle. If I'm going to have anything, I quite like a vodka orange. But if whiskey is your tickle, you take a whiskey. If you just like a lemon and water, you take a lemon and water. And you put your dressing gown on, and you can sit back and you can enjoy the magnificent ride of this life. But if you've got lots of suffering going on, then that's not going to work. Okay, you're suffering, you're in agony, you're like, oh God, I haven't done this, I haven't done that, and I can just sit back and enjoy the ride. That's, I highly think, I doubt that's going to work, and I suspect that's some form of suppression and not knowing yourself and as just going nowhere, which is the ultimate destination. But to me, that thought in that moment, if you're suffering, isn't a good thought. So if you're in that situation, then a more wise thing to do would be to investigate what's happening here. So what's happening? Why am I so stressed? Now, whether that thought arises to investigate is destiny. It's like it's God's will. Whether you've got the openness to investigate in that moment or not is totally down to the divine. But it happens through the appearance of someone saying, let's have an investigation. Let's have a look to see what's happening here. And then who knows if they've had teaching to know how to look into the body or into feelings, or maybe they've naturally got the inclination. And from that investigation, just from being open to investigating it rather than totally believing that there's something terrible that's going to happen to you, or suppressing it by trying to give yourself some non-duality or spiritual quote. So by doing that, we'll more than likely release the tension to some extent and have good effects on you in the future. So that, to me, would be a positive karma action to investigate what happens in the body. But whether it happens is God will. It's down to God. But in one way, you are God. Who you truly are is consciousness. So it's magical, isn't it? It's like it's not you, but it seems to be you. It's just not the limitation of you. It's not thinking how you on the personality structure thinks it's happening. So to me, that would be good karma to investigate when you're in a dark place. What else was your question? Can I change your... So can you change it is like questioning, what's the sound of one hand clapping? What's the sound of one hand clapping? What's the sound of one hand clapping? Or does a tree that falls in... If a tree falls in the forest and there's nobody there to hear it, does it make a sound? Basically, when you think you've ever got to an answer, know that there is another possibility. Isn't that wonderful? Hi Vlad, Lisa, nice to see you. Could we say that karma is the response of the thoughts we believe, like our thoughts are the cause and life is the effect? I don't know how you distinguish it. It's like chicken and the egg. Which one comes first? Because then the effect then causes the new thoughts. So it's like an endless cycle. Huh? Quilla. Hi Quilla. Nice name. Hi Lisa, I'm exploring the heart with love flowing towards things, absorption in the heart back to the source. Is there anything to express about this today? Thanks. Discerning unconscious emotion attachments from pure love, opening up to deeper rest of the heart. So to me, to you, there used to be these comedians in England that go, to me, to you, to me, to you, to me, to you, to me, to you. To me, the heart is life. That's the heart of being, like I amness, which is everything, or beingness, which is everything. So the heart of life is this. Some people say the heart is here, like the heart chakra is here. And maybe you mean that one. And, I think it plays a part. It's like everything. It's really quite mysterious. Ramana Maharshi used to say that life appears from the left side of the heart. So it's all connected in the end. I can't always verbally connect it all. But if you're creative, maybe your mind can feel all those connections. But to me, everything is coming from here. Everything. And that's true love. To see that everything's appearing from this moment without any bounds on it. It's free. And that's so loving. That your computer is appearing from now. That changes everything. Your camera, your water bottle, your table, your legs, the seat, the floor is appearing from this moment. It's not appearing from the past. And that's the same with everything all the time, and that's your home, and that's true love. Every feeling, every idea is appearing from this moment, and that's who you are. That's the true nature of life. So you've never been hurt by anything in life. You've never been rejected by anything in life. You are always in yourself. You're never victim to anything that happens. It's life doing it. Doesn't mean that you need to be stupid and naive, like in this game, but it's also seeing that even the perpetrator and difficult things come because there's a wanting of it from your essence. There's a calling of it. Like everything that happens now is your essence. I got a little ooh. So that's the heart of being. So don't look for a physical place of the heart, otherwise it will become conditioned to things. Don't look for a particular feeling, otherwise it will become conditioned to certain things. Know that the heart is all things that appear and no one thing, and that this is true love, true unconditioned love without any boundaries. I love you. When the student is ready, the master appears. Is a master necessary, or can flowering occur independently? It's all dependent on everything else. Nothing's true. So those words can be seen as untrue or true, dependent on what you compare them to in the situation. When the student is ready, the student will see that the master is life, which is themselves. When you begin to see that the whole of life is your guru, then it will open up to all its great mysteries. So ask yourself this, Derek, who is speaking now? Who is asking Lisa that? There's the identification with a person, and Derek thinks that he's got to get something from Lisa, but what Derek misses to see, that there is this expansiveness, this absolute mystery which every thought and feeling and idea is coming from. It's the same with the light, with the room, with the sounds outside. All of them come from this mystery, and this is your true home. Don't use my words to try and press emotions. Accept your emotions and your feelings and thoughts and know them. Don't get lost in this timeline of illusion, of me and you and ideas about what you can get. The love that you look for is right here in this. Right here, right now. Right here, right now. Hi Mansoor. I am right to say the whole package of stories, karmas, disappears if I do not limit myself to being an anonymous, separate individual. On the absolute level, there is no karma, but in the appearance of things, there's karma. Your body is going to have karma. You cannot get out of that. If your body hits somebody in the face in the pub, there will be retaliation. If your body is more in line with source and more open, it will experience more openness. I just suddenly had a thought. You know about what I exposed about men earlier? It just suddenly occurred to me, why have I never heard a male guru exposing the game that women do with male gurus? It just suddenly occurred to me. I've never heard that talked about in a talk. So I was talking about what males can do with me and what people can do with me as a speaker, which is small. I'm not a big speaker. I don't deal with these things that often. I'm not a guru. I just speak about this subject, and if you resonate, you resonate. I don't even want to call myself enlightened or not enlightened or any of those things. I don't want any of that. My goal is to express love and to express this and for it to come out. But why is it that male teachers never bring up what females do with the male teachers? Like you see it, if you go to a very popular male teacher, you see all the females trying to use sexuality to get attention, but you never hear the male teacher confront it. That would be so profound if the male teacher did and said it. It would really stop the women in their tracks. Or maybe it wouldn't. Like I would have been so shocked. I'm sure I did it to male teachers. Actually, I don't know if I did. I did to one. I only started to, did it to one teacher. Use sexuality to try and get their attention. I mean, sometimes it happened without me using sexuality that I got the attention. But sometimes I purposely and consciously, was like, no, I didn't actually. What did I do? I just made myself available, I think. I can't remember what I did. Always ready to look them in the eyes, I can't remember. But it just occurred to me that that's never confronted. It is a difficult situation because when you confront it, so when you confront someone's dynamics, then what about you? What about you? You are doing it, so then I expose myself and make myself vulnerable and flirt with you. You're setting yourself up there to be worshipped. Okay, we can fit it. Okay. We play funny games as humans, don't we? I know you don't need validation. I just wanted to say that you're so sweet and funny and loving and wise. Oh, thanks, Thane. That's sweet. Yeah, what does it the best for me, actually, what works the best, is seeing somebody evolve and open, their heart open more and more over time. This really touches me. Even that really touches me. That works 1,000 times better on me than compliments, although I'm really open to it, and that's really sweet. And I see it all as programming. It all responds now, all of that happens now, but it's all programming. We're all conditioned, so it's happening now. So waking up is not stopping conditionings. Waking up is the end of attachment to the conditions, so that you're acting out your conditions, but there's nobody acting it out. But it's so obvious that that's what would touch me, because when I was growing up, I was dyslexic at school, so I wasn't used to compliments, and then I had two perfectionist parents that didn't compliment me that much. So compliments don't really work on me. I like them, I do like it. I can't be around people that are really negative about me all the time, and I like it. Especially from your partner when they're saying nice things about you. It's I really enjoy it, but it's not really a big thing for me. What works for me, and again, this is all to do with conditioning, what works for me is seeing people evolve and grow and open. And again, that's a really obvious thing, because when I grew up, I grew up with a lot of illness in my family. So there was a lot of suffering and illness in my immediate family that I grew up with in the house, and I was often the caregiver. My mum was the main caregiver, but when my mum wasn't there, I used to cook and like rub my grand's sores. She had like a hole in her leg, and cook for her, and it just used to make me so happy when she was happy. Like obviously we like that, and so there's a natural inclination towards that, which I think actually sets me up as quite good at being a teacher, because the good thing about my personality structure is I'm not that fazed by compliments or guru things or admiration. It's nice, but it doesn't really do it for me. But it really does it for me when I see someone evolve and open and grow. And I think that's quite complimentary. You see, but all of that's happening in this moment. We all have our conditions that we live by, our apparent karma. So I had this for 20 years in my beginning, so it set me up in a perfect way to be this character now. But in this moment, it's all coming from nowhere. It doesn't come from an identity that's holding it and saying, this is me. It just comes out freely, and it's open to changing and evolving and expanding and being different. I love your joy, heart. Thanks, Glenda. I love yours too. Hi, Julio. Hi, Lisa. Practicing for the retreat. Oh, nice. You're going to bring what is it, an accordion? It looks really nice. Whichever instrument it is. I think it's an accordion. That's exciting. You could do some bajangs. We had professional bajans players coming on the retreat in India. It was really nice. My heart, my feet health is my current karma, teaching me to look after my body and learn about being grounded. That's what it feels like. Sometimes it feels limiting and I get upset. Other times I'm grateful that it helps me to learn about being practical with my body and put love into it by eating and well and linking to the earth. Yeah, that's great, Beth. Like, and when the upsetness comes, so when some dark stories come, like just feel into it. Like, what is it that it makes you feel? Like it makes you feel powerless or worthless, and just see how untrue it is. That you developed that in childhood, you were trained to have these thoughts, and that's not who you are, and that's not truth. It's feelings coming up, it's old feelings to be processed. The ultimate truth is that you are, and then on the human level, a really great story that you can tell yourself is all of it's helping you expand. Not in a fake way, like don't tell yourself that to cover up dark feelings are underneath. You've always got to be honest. But yeah, that's great, Beth. Saragi. Hi, Saragi. Send my love. Send you my love. Yes. Hey, Lisa. Lovely to see you. Right here, right now. I can't play anything anymore on YouTube because they're getting even stricter with copyright laws. And I think in Europe soon we're having it really strong. There's a new EU law being passed. But I want to. Right here, right now, boom, boom. I can't do it myself very well. I wish I could suddenly just sing that drum beat. It's beautiful karma, putting yourself on the public space with fully sincerity and acting from heart. It's pure and you never need to dim your light for anyone. There will always be naysayers. That is their choosing and their karma. Your truth is always expanding and liberating. Wonderful song. Ah, thanks, Thomas. Hi, Prem. Thanks for your reply. With pleasure. Hi, Raphael. Hi, Julia. Baba Hanuman live. Yeah. Do you know, I went to a live satsang of a really beautiful lady in India. I've forgotten her name suddenly, Shanti Mai. And I went to her satsang. My friend was encouraging me to go, so I went, and they played a song on the accordion, and then she wanted another one, and maybe it was the first one, but anyway, they ended up playing Baba Hanuman, and I was so happy. Like, I just love that. Nice. That is all the questions. I think it is my destiny or my karma now to go and fill the belly and have my dinner. Yes, I love eating. I love it. I love it. Not sure what I'm going to have tonight. My karma is that it's my tummy after India is really making me eat healthily. I only eat healthy food, otherwise it rejects it. It's like eject, eject. I have to sit on the toilet for quite a while. I have to think of a healthy meal for tonight. Yeah, so... Except I did have a naughty earlier. I thought this is my last ever one. I'll just have a naughty. I don't often drink them, but I thought I'd just have a naughty, and that's it. No more. My belly is like, nope. I gave it lots of positive vibrations when I had my naughty. I was like, I love you. You are going to do good things for my belly. I rubbed its little belly. You see, like, poopy doopy doopy doo. Poopy doopy doopy doo. Sand sugar. Like, it's even trying to give me less sugars. I was very sweet to it, and I was like, you treat my insides well. And it said it would, but I also said that that's our farewell gift. Lisa is too old to eat things and drink things like that. She is too old. That is for younger bodies. When you approach middle age, you can no longer drink Coca-Cola. That's just the rule. That's the way it is. That's destiny. Okay, sorry. That's me ending. I was off on one of my stupid rants again. I love you very, very much, and I wish you well, and I wish you everything. I see God in you. Thank you.